Hello everyone, my name is Josiah and I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. And recently I just finished watching The Godfather Part 2. At some point very soon I'm going to be watching The Godfather Part 3. And I've heard some things about The Godfather Part 3, but this whole thing has really got me thinking about trilogies. So I wanted to talk about why the Planet of the Apes trilogy is my favorite trilogy of all time. Hello everyone, my name is Josiah. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to be talking about why I think Planet of the Apes is the greatest trilogy of all time. So let's get into it. So, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which came out in 2011, was the first Planet of the Apes movie that I had ever seen. And I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like amazing. I didn't think it was amazing at the time. And it wasn't until Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out that I really started to fall in love with this franchise as a whole. Honestly, I think that the jump from like Rise of the Planet of the Apes to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was like going from Batman Begins to The Dark Knight. It's like with Rise and like Batman Begins, it wasn't anything new. I mean, we had Planet of the Apes movies in the past, and there were Batman movies in the past, and both of these films were like a modern take on these franchises that have been around for such a long time. And then the sequel, I mean, is like if the Batman Begins and Rise of the Planet of the Apes are like here, then The Dark Knight and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is like up here. Just the jump. I mean, in the storytelling, the tone, the character development, I think is all absolutely phenomenal. And then we have War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, I do think that War for the Planet of the Apes is the weakest of the three, but it's still a great movie that just tells a completely well-rounded story. I mean, you going from the beginning, the middle, and the end. Rise, it was a good introduction, not only showing us a little bit more of like Caesar's backstory, how he became super intelligent, and initially what led to the uprising of the apes, as well as the pandemic that wipes out most of humanity. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we see a progression of that. Caesar, he still wonders about any humans that could be out there, and when he comes into contacts with humans that are still around, and there creates the conflict, he's a little bit more reasonable with allowing them to do what they need to so they can get power, so they can survive down in the city. Meanwhile, Koba, who was an ape that was living in the lab and being experimented on, really has just complete hostility towards the humans, and he has a good reason to feel that way. And I think that there's a lot of like nuance in this film. They don't like villainize the apes and they don't villainize the humans. It's just when there's two factions that with their backs against the wall, and they tend to butt heads when their survival's on the line. And that's one of the things I really appreciated about this film. And then leading into War for the Planet of the Apes, at the end of Dawn, Caesar even tells Malcolm, he was like, hey, we didn't start this war, he's like, humans didn't start this war, he's like, the apes did. And he's like, the humans aren't going to forgive, they're not going to forget that. And so leading into War for the Planet of the Apes, it's like Caesar has lost all compassion for humanity, because he keeps trying to tell them like, hey, this ape started the war, I took him out, we're just trying to live in peace, and now you're just like hunting us relentlessly. And I thought that character development, that turn, totally made sense, and I thought it really worked. And at the end of the day, like I remember when I saw War for the Planet of the Apes for the first time, like when the movie ended, I really didn't say anything for like 15 minutes. I was just really like just soaking it in. And if I had to describe the trilogy as a whole, I would say it's like, those times where they come out with like a movie poster and it's like awesome. Then they come out with the second poster and that one's awesome. And then like a third poster that's just as awesome. But then when you put them all together, it just makes like one big poster that's how I feel about the Planet of the Apes trilogy. It's like a perfect beginning, middle, and end. Well, like beginning, middle, and end. All right, just forget that. Forget that part. But you get my point. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I love with the work that they did with the motion capture. I mean, Andy Serkis is like the godfather of motion capture. I mean, not only did he do all that amazing work with Lord of the Rings, but now the Planet of the Apes, and it just blows my mind with what they were able to do. And one of the most impressive things to me about the trilogy is that not a single director directed all three. I mean, Matt Reeves directed Dawn and War for the Planet of the Apes, but he didn't direct the first one. So the fact that it was still a cohesive and just like a natural flow with all three movies with different directors, I think that's phenomenal. So what about you guys? What do you think about the Planet of the Apes trilogy? Do you think it's the greatest trilogy of all time? If not, what do you think is? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.